For those who've been following this journey from the beginning, you guys remember one of our first Big Vibes episode. We're back again with that similar energy in this episode. A returning guest. It's a big one. I'm your pal, George Boutsalis.
And I'm your other pal, Ricky Liordi. And this episode, we brought back the one and only Freddie Bender and his lovely partner, Stella, to chat about their new skincare line, Freeq Cosmetics. This episode was just some big time vibes all around. We also had Stella on her first ever podcast, so you know the vibes don't lie on this one.
She brought that energy. You know, Freddie brought those good vibes that we needed. This was a great one. We really just kind of talked about their new line and how they got into the idea, the inspiration, what it's like working with your partner, all that stuff, guys. This one was incredible. If you need some vibes, if you want to feel good, if you want to know how to take care of your skin, this is the episode for you.
Good vibes only. Georgie.
That's a GVO, pal.
Let's go.
That's it.
And the studio is jammed today.
Yeah.
We got a full house.
Here we are.
There he is.
There he is. Well, Freddie, welcome back to the Pals podcast. And Stella, first time. Welcome.
Thank you.
First timer.
Honored to be here.
We're honored to have you guys.
We always joke, Freddie, your episode was the definition of vibes.
Oh man, yeah, I was feeling good. Middle of summer, you know.
Comes in with the tank top on.
Yeah, that was summertime Freddie. You guys got like the best version. That was him at his peak.
We got summer Freddie.
That was one of the, honestly, like, that was still pretty early on for us, and like we would get nervous, but you know, it's like hard to like really get into the vibe of podcast.
Yeah.
Now we're like comfortable, but that was one of the first ones that were like, okay, this is a vibe. Like, it's chill, it's the boys hanging out,
Yeah.
and then he spit some knowledge on us, and we're like, mind blown.
No, that, you know what? That's what it felt like, and I know that's what you guys had mentioned right out of the gate, was like you wanted it to feel like a car ride up to the cottage with your buddies, and that's exactly what it felt like. It was just the boys hanging out, shooting the breeze, talking about stuff that actually matters, and you know, at the same time, it was just a chill environment too, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Stella, did you listen to the episode?
I did. I actually listened to it twice. Once when it happened, once to prepare myself mentally because I was a little nervous.
Okay.
But I loved it. But to be honest, it sounds like all his conversations with all his buddies. Like, it's really just like he's on his phone. Like, it's so crazy too, because sometimes he'll wake up and he's like kind of groggy, and like one of his buddies will call him, and like instantly he's like,
he's on.
He's Freddie Bender. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, oh my God. Like, he's like, good morning, babe, whatever, like so chill. And then he's like, buddy, what the fuck is up? And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, geez.
That's hilarious. That sounds exactly like Fred.
Yeah.
That's how he was when he came here.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Tell me
That
what's
line.
happening, buddy. Yeah.
God, this is gonna be a good one. I can
Freddie,
already
you are a good people person. You know when to turn it on. You know how to just like flip a switch.
You know what? Yeah, you got to have that. I mean, like coming from a sales background too, right? Like you got to, even if you don't want to be on, you got to be on sometimes, right? So, I mean, it could get taxing. There's the other side of it, that when you just hit a wall, you want to go to bed and, you know, throw on some Netflix and do nothing, right? But
that's what Freddie Gervaisi comes out.
That's Alfred Gervaisi.
No, that's Alfred Gervaisi. Ain't no Freddie Bender there.
Yeah. There's a couple different versions.
Yeah, as soon as Freddie
them all.
said that, she rolled her eyes.
Well, how'd you guys meet?
Yeah.
This is our first time having a couple on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
We've had couples in the studio before.
Do you want the real story?
Well,
let's
hear both your stories. Sal, you tell yours
This
first.
is a first. We never had like a
couple,
how they met.
We had Penny Alexiak brought her boyfriend, and that's it.
Yeah. He was like, it was funny. We said this. He was sitting here, and like she would say stuff, and we'd see her kind of like she'd do it almost like you just did, like roll her eyes a little bit, and then we'd look at him, and he'd be like, that didn't happen. Like he would shake his head, and then we'd like fact check.
Yeah.
So we have a live fact check here. So this is the
there
first
we go.
for sure.
No,
Okay, so let's hear it.
pretty similar.
Anyone
stuff.
gonna get roasted here?
No.
Okay.
So we actually met at a health food convention. Her boss at the time had invited me. I was going to meet some distributor clients for Mastermind. It was at CHFA.
CHFA, yeah.
CHFA. Yeah, thank you. And essentially, I was just going to, you know, meet some clients. A couple of her colleagues were like, yeah, like we're having a bash over at the Loose
The
Moose.
after party, guys.
You
It was the
know?
after
On
party.
Front Street?
Yeah. So
at the Loose Moose.
I'm like, Loose Moose, I'm there. You know, like, let's do it.
That's what reeled him in.
So we went, we met that night. It was just a brief conversation. I remember the conversation a little differently, but I think she was wheeling me. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
Anyways, fast forward a while, and then I saw, leave it to Instagram. I saw a video of her and her friends roller skating, and I had to chirp her stride. Because it was just not up to par. So I just let her know, hey, tough stride. And
I want you all to be clear that was his.
That was the DM.
That was it.
That's what he slid in
No
with.
emojis.
Just
like
tough
nothing.
Stride.
And
Can
like,
we see
You
this?
know you got game when you could just
and to be
hope
very
not.
fair, like it was, but he didn't have to come for me so hard. And I was like, first of all, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? No offense, because I didn't really remember. So I'm like,
so she had no clue about the loose moose. Sorry. go
yeah.
ahead.
To back it up, I should have just started. So to be very fair, at this particular evening, I was drinking a little bit, and
You're getting a little loose?
I was getting a little loose with the moose, and I didn't really remember this encounter per se.
How do you not remember meeting this handsome young stallion?
Listen, it was a different time. I wasn't in the headspace. I don't remember. I wish I remembered. I do, but I didn't really remember it. So I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And
Is
he's
this
just
jackass chirping my stride?
Oh yeah, coming
So-
coming in hot.
But guys, it worked. I mean, look at us now.
Fellas,
But
you hear that? Chirp
it.
their strides, chirp their
Yeah.
running, biking, whatever. That's your key. Well, when
a
you look
quick
like
little
this,
jab,
that'll work.
you know?
When you look like
yeah,
this.
and then that was pretty much it. From there, we went to, I think our first date, we went to spin, like the ping pong play, not like
Oh,
spin
yeah.
class.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
No,
spin class.
that would have been
pong
intense.
action.
Did
Oh,
you let her
yeah.
win?
No. I'm an absolute competitor.
When Freddy's gonna talk shit about the stride, you know he's coming
I
in
had
with
to
the
back it up.
overhand and
You know what
back
though?
it.
I was surprised at the skill level because obviously I'm basing it straight off her stride, and then
Not
she
impressed
comes
with
in
it.
hot, like
I'm
first
pretty-
serve, just boom, top
Yeah.
corner right over my glove hand side.
And in case you were wondering, he was wearing a very deep V as
Oh,
usual. So
wow.
what I was
Freddie
really trying to do
Bender
was
was out.
hit it into the V just to show my tricks, but that
Let
was
him know.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that's pretty much how it went down. Yeah, so
And that was
started
it.
at a health food convention, ended at spin, and
And
here we are. Yeah.
And now here we are. Now
Here
we
it's,
are.
We got business ventures. We got what's going on here. Like we got
Yeah,
But before we get into how long you guys been dating?
What, like
Officially,
oh,
what? 8 months?
yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, we've been seeing each other for like a year, but like,
Yeah.
official,
Okay.
it's so
Yeah, yeah,
weird.
whatever.
How
Yeah.
do you,
So
how
since
do
the
you,
loose moose, it's been about a year, or
Yeah.
since the rollerblade.
yeah,
Comment.
I guess that
Beginning
would've
of October last year was
yeah,
the
probably
first
beginning
date.
of October
Yeah,
last year. We
Okay, so
started
happy
hanging
1
out.
year.
yeah.
Thanks so much.
We
yeah.
didn't even celebrate it yet.
Yeah,
but
we're
okay.
Celebrating right now. Hello. You guys want a drink?
What a way to
We'll
bring
pour
it
you guys
in.
a
What a
eh?
way to
drinks?
bring in our
Don't
1
mind
year.
it.
Couple
with a podcast.
bevies.
hanging out with the pals.
Couple bevies with the pals, yeah.
Yeah.
that's
well,
great.
yeah. I guess, but it's so different now, like the world, right? Like when people are dating, things like that, nothing's official. Yeah, you're still talking. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's no real like official time, I guess. But like
fair enough.
October.
He's never like, hey, babe, we going steady.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I can picturing that kind of like
Yeah.
vibe, you know?
Take her to
Coming
a
in
diner.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. No, it's
So,
just
so
like-
what did you do before?
So the job that I was doing when I met him, actually, it was like a marketing job. So I was doing mainly health food marketing. So we would do in-store demos and social media work and things like that, because I was always kind of involved or interested in like the health food world. I was always super into that. So I did that for about 2 years until obviously like the pandemic and everything like that. And before that, I was super into film. Like it was kind of actually like a 180. I kind of did. Oh, sorry. I like my whole life I was in theater and I did acting and drama and film and everything like that. And I just that lifestyle just really wasn't for me. And that healthcare world was always something I was interested in. So I kind of flipped and ended up doing that job for the past like 2 years. And now I have a skincare company. So I did a couple different things, guys. I really switched it around.
Are you from the city or?
Yeah. No, I'm from Caledon. So like 40 minutes
Yeah,
north.
I know. It's like
I was literally
northwest.
I was up in Orangeville today. It's
Okay, yeah.
so
So I'm
far.
actually like right near Orangeville. That's where I was
Okay.
born and raised.
That was like my second time ever out there. It's like I went there years ago when I was a kid, and it's so different now. I was driving through, I was like, they got everything here.
Yeah, well now
mean,
they
not
do.
compared-
No, they did not
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
It was like, yeah, all my friends still roast me because it's just the middle of nowhere. Like
Yeah, it's pretty
no one
far.
wanted to come over.
Freddie,
No.
were you Mississauga?
I was a
growing up?
Mississauga boy. Yeah.
You were?
Yeah, I was Mavison 401. I went to Marcellinus, so right off the highway there, you see that big old football field. And
Yeah, I know. Same.
Yeah.
I went to Loyola.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Mississauga,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
We
and
had,
are you 90?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
okay.
our hockey team went to. I didn't play. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I was the bench coach. That's tape sticks and stuff.
You open the door.
My buddies that
George
time
opened
played
the
like
door.
Morale, yeah.
So my buddy at the time, Dom Cerrone played for the Von Kings.
yeah.
Dave Piccarello played for the Young Nats,
Yeah.
I think. Was one other guy, Kyle Emery, maybe played for the Junior Canadians.
Essery?
Essery, that's the guy's
Oh
name.
my God, Ez.
I just know
I
their
played
name. I
junior
don't-
with Ez.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's a character.
Cho-
Man. He's one
who
of
am I
the
thinking
coolest guys I know.
Rob, defenseman for the Marley. Rob
Cerdic, yeah.
Cerdic,
I played
yeah.
with
Okay.
him,
Yeah. We
The
played.
Marlies,
We would have
yeah.
played against him at the same time. Yeah.
I know
Esri,
these guys.
oh
I
my
didn't play,
God.
but like I was in school with all of them.
Just so you know, we could have this entire episode just about Kyle Essery. Like he's a fucking legend.
Well, yo, shout out this guy.
He's fucking
I've
legend.
Shout out Kyle.
I've not
Dusty.
seen him or heard of him since high school. That's like 12. Yeah, not to age myself. 12 years
Yeah.
ago, maybe more.
Yeah, I haven't
14
seen him in
years
a while.
ago.
Great dude, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Good kid.
He was good in high school. He was
Oh man,
really
he was.
good.
Yeah, he was a big part of Georgetown. Like he,
Yeah, the Georgetown Raiders.
Georgetown Raiders, baby. Yeah. What a squad that was. That was good.
He played against Sweens.
Sweeney.
Rob Sweeney.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
Streetsville.
Yeah. Played against all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about.
We can
our
talk about hockey, but
connections.
no,
all that.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We'll save that for episode 3.
Yeah.
Freddie's gonna be our first third timer.
Oh shit.
Coming in
I'm going for the hat
recap
trick.
the NHL draft or something.
Yeah. Seriously.
We just missed it.
Yeah.
Oh hell! Well, that shows how much I know about hockey.
Okay, so let's get into the products here. So I'm assuming this is a quarantine product. The idea and the
Yeah.
Born in quarantine.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was always super into skincare. That was always something that I.
You have beautiful skin, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Freddie,
Well,
you too.
courtesy
Thank
of
you.
Freeq.
I
No.
grow it myself.
No, but yeah, I guess you want to know how it all
Yeah,
started.
let's give it to us.
Yeah, so for me, like I said, I was always into skincare. I suffered from like acne and like I just didn't have great skin most of my life. Like I would say it started when I was like maybe in grade 8. Like I never really had great skin. Like it was on and off. So I'm sure many other people struggle with that, but it was always something that was a huge insecurity of mine. So I was always trying new things, like anything you could think of, I did, like facials, diet, everything at Sephora they possibly had. Like I tried
Proactive.
it. Yeah.
I remember buying my
I didn't
first
actually
Proactive
know-
at a vending machine
Oh my god.
in
God.
Florida. In Florida, I bought because they had like Proactive vending machines
Oh my
in those
gosh.
outdoor malls. And I used to get acne on my forehead and my chin from my hockey helmet.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, works. It works. You know, I can't remember which actress or model was the spokesperson at
Right,
the time.
right,
Like,
right.
yeah, you got to try some. Like, heck yeah, mom. It was like $80.
Yeah, Proactive is expensive. It's also really bad for you.
Is it?
But yeah, it's not very good.
That's
for
why I
you,
got shit
actually.
skin now, I guess.
Yeah, no, you guys actually have very nice skin.
covered up
I
my
will say
beard.
you have very nice skin, both of you. Anyhow,
Thank you.
so yeah, I was just super into skincare, and I tried so many different things, and I ended up going to see. He's kind of like a wellness holistic practitioner, and he was giving me this cream, and he was infusing frequencies into it. And it was just like a regular old cream. It wasn't anything special, but he was infusing the frequencies that were good for my skin.
What do you mean frequencies?
I'll get
okay.
into that. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
get into
so I was
that.
like, what
I was gonna ask that too. I was like, I have no idea what's
I know.
going on.
I'll get into that.
Frequencies, like
Yeah, so-
shocking it.
Now it makes-
Yeah.
Light bulb. Okay, we won't go. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue your story. Yeah.
I feel like an idiot right now.
Not saying I feel really dumb.
no.
Maybe we got smart together.
But yeah, so well, okay, so maybe I'll just say the frequencies now, so
However
it makes
you
more
wanna do it.
sense. But essentially, they're electromagnetic waves. So everything that you touch and anything like that has its own unique code, right? Its own unique frequency. That's the best way to put it. So they have a device. It's called an IC pad. It's only like, it's about this big, and they have an IC.
So like 2 by 4 inches?
something like that. And yeah.
People listening don't know how big that is.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much your coaster.
Sorry.
Yeah. Size of a cassette.
My bad too. I should have known
Maybe
better.
like a coaster size,
something.
something like that. And essentially, you plug that in, and you plug it into the computer or iPad, whatever your device, and you can download from the platform they have. You can download different frequencies into a cream or whatever it is. They were mainly doing it with water, so you would drink it. So you would drink the remedies because the frequencies are kind of like remedies. So it started as water, and that's
Does it taste like anything?
No, not it's literally just sound and light. That's basically all it is. It's similar to homeopathy. If either of you or anyone's familiar,
like naturopath stuff.
Yeah. So the idea of homeopathy is basically letting the body heal itself. So that's similar, just to help everyone understand. Like that's kind of how it works. And he put it into a cream for me, and I was like, oh my God, why don't you make a skincare line? Like, because it started to work, and I was like in love with it. And he wasn't so interested. It just wasn't his. He didn't have the time or interest in really creating that. And I was like, well, do you mind if I do it? And he goes, no, of course, do whatever you want. And that's kind of how it happened. And one day we were just hanging out, and I was thinking, oh man, I got to think of a good name. Like if I'm gonna do it, I really want to do it, And he's just sitting there, and he's like, what about Freeq? And I'm like, that's it. You know what I mean? Frequency, for those of you who didn't catch on earlier.
I mean, I've seen the name
we got it. Yeah,
I didn't even click right away. Like,
we got it.
That's a really clever.
And it's just one of those things that I kind of fell in love with. And, like I was saying, I've had like a lot of different jobs in my life, and I was always one of those types of people that, I knew if I really loved something, I'd be really good at it, but there was nothing that I really loved. And with this, it was kind of instant. I just fell in love with it, and it was also a passion of mine. So it was just, perfect combination. And, after that, we just started designing the labels, and I did a ton of research, and I've, found a lady that can help me make it. And that's kind of how it came to be.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah.
Can you pass one, Rick?
Yeah.
Take a look at it.
The beauty of the cream too is, yes, it's infused with the light frequencies and all that, but it also has such a fantastic like base formulation in it as well. So it's got like jojoba oil.
Sea buckthorn, aloe vera juice, seaweed gel. So that was the other thing about it, because I know that the frequencies and everything like that is a bit much for certain people to digest, right? It's definitely a new age concept, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that going into this, so I thought I might as well make something that's a really good base product. So at the end of the day, regardless of if people are there's probably
some people are always skeptical or like or like it's like for us, we never heard of like this kind of thing. It's like you have to explain, and they might be like, okay, that sounds like it,
they think it's a little woo woo and whatever. Yeah, which I get. But we do have. It's also like you can see it with your own eyes, like when I do the transfer and I'm transferring the frequencies in, like you can see it, you know what I mean?
Really?
So, yeah, well, you can see like the pad emits the light and the sound. Like if you can't hear the sound because it's plugged in, but I mean, you would be able to if you unplugged it. Really? And it's basically, they can download all the sound and light frequencies of any object. Everything that exists has its own frequency, right? So that's kind of how it works. I'm not the scientist that created it. I'm sure I'm butchering the explanation, but this is one of the coolest things that I found, and I just knew I had to be a part of it because it was like I think it's like the future of skincare personally.
It's kind of like a barcode, right? That would be the easiest way to describe it, like the scanning of a barcode. And every substance in this world has its own unique barcode. And they've just figured out a way to transfer that information from one object to the next via light and sound. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, I mean, I don't want to get all, psychedelic on you here, but we all are, light and sound frequencies.
Yeah.
That's what we're made out of. And
So what frequencies are put into this? Do you take it from what frequencies are put into this?
Mm-hmm. So the ones that I chose to put in are botanical essences. So for those, some may know about batch flowers or rescue remedy.
Like we don't.
Yeah, no.
Some people might not.
Some people may know.
I totally know.
For a guy I know.
For George.
But yeah, no, they're the ones that I put in are called batch flower remedies. So you can get them at the store, like they're very common, but they're botanical essences. So essentially what they are it's like a healing type of remedy. So they have things like willow or rose and things like that. And what they do is they're for emotional stuff. So for example, there's one that's for kind of confidence, one for calming, things like that. So I picked those because those are good things for your skin, and they also help heal your skin. So the whole idea is you're healing your skin like from the inside out, right? So you're allowing your body to kind of heal itself. Because what homeopathy and like all the frequencies are really about is just letting your organs and all, which your skin is the biggest organ you have, right? It's just allowing them to basically get back to full health. That's basically what it is. And for the people that are familiar with that, they'll know, right? That's what a holistic practitioner or a naturopath, homeopath would do, right? They would give you something to kind of help your body heal itself. So, but the batch flowers, excuse me, the batch flowers, their most popular product is the rescue remedy. So what that is they have like drops and sprays and pastilles and things like that. And those are, you would take that if you had like a traumatic event or something stressful that happened to you. Like it helps to kind of calm the body. So it's really also good for your skin as well, right? Because a lot of times acne or redness or things like that are caused from extreme stress and hormonal changes and things like that. I mean, I could go into this forever. Like there's a million different
See, George, that's what I was trying to tell you everything.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, I was totally. Well, no, I don't know. Like again, a lot of this stuff, honestly, like I don't understand a lot of. I mean, I understand a bit of it, but when it comes to the natural products, that stuff is like witch hazel stuff like that. Is that like natural? Or my like making my I know my sister-in-law, like she's one time I had like some acne, I get a lot of my beard, and she's like, you should use witch hazel and something else. Very like, it's like natural stuff. It's not like I don't know if it's from like she got it from like homeopathy or whatever, but it's like a natural product that comes from like plants or whatever.
Witch hazel is a very common ingredient. That's like you would use that. That's a little more for acne specifically, but I mean everybody can use it. That's a very common toner.
Okay,
that's probably what you use.
The name sounds like it's made from a plant or something. I had no idea.
It's very common. Yeah, you're good. Your skin's gonna be great. Don't worry.
Sick. One thing I do really like about this, and I noticed it's something small, but I really like the small details in like brand design.
Wait, hold on. What were you? I'm gonna say the silver wrapping.
No.
Oh, I love that.
Nice. It's even smaller than that. Like, see, it's something that you have to look at it to notice. You see how people on bottles put tips on how to use it? They expanded to go, our tips to unleash your inner freak. And then they put in brackets like frequency. See, to me, that's cool because you can just put like directions, or you take it one step further and you add your personal touch. To me, that's what makes the difference in branding. It's little things like that and the attention to detail. Like that's the stuff that I know. It's like I think this all looks cool, but like that's really unique.
Let's jump into the branding then. So I guess, Freddie, you've started Mastermind. So obviously you've got a background. You have that entrepreneurial spirit. What role did you play in helping develop this brand? Or were you just all the brains and he just standing from the sidelines?
No, I can't take all the credit, honestly.
No, but that kind of stuff, that's her. That's just pure passion kind of shining through and being able to, like emulate that through a brand. I think the biggest role that I played here was using the mistakes that I made, learning and working through Mastermind to be able to now, help kind of guide a new business in a completely different industry, right? With Mastermind, we had to take it a little bit more of a corporate approach because of the complexities of the industry. That's not something that we could take really a grassroots approach with. Whereas this, I saw, the passion that she had. I saw the knowledge that she had, and also just the uniqueness of what we're trying to accomplish here. And yes, it's starting with skincare, but it's a unique way to introduce something like frequencies into mainstream commercialism, right? And I thought that it's a great first step in that direction of making that a more well-known feat in what it is.
Yeah, and you have, same with Mastermind, you started with a lot of just proteins and wellness products, but you're expanding that to we had the bath salts last time, we had the hemp protein You also said you were doing after so you said you were doing a bunch of other stuff too. That I don't know if we can get into later on, but
100%. Yeah,
we'll jump into that after.
Yeah.
But do you find that starting Mastermind and starting with one product and growing from there is going to help this product and this brand grow?
100%. I think, doing anything more than once allows you to use your expertise. Just, little things that you learn that you didn't even realize you were learning, right? If you notice here, we only have 2 products, right? We have the cleanser and the moisturizer. Starting out with Mastermind, I tried to do it all. You try to do a lot really quick. And I think, if I could go back and do it again, I'd probably start with 1 or 2 and really just focus in and be the best in that sphere. And that's what we did here. And we chose the cleanser and the moisturizers, 2 very important products for your skin, and really dialed into why those were important. And, obviously this is her baby. This is something that she can take and kind of, take to the next level. And I'm just kind of that, hey, these are some of the pitfalls that I had. Yeah. And it's an interesting dynamic being a business partner with somebody that you're also intimately in a relationship with. So
I love how he words that. Intimately in a relationship with.
Right. So, it is unique situation, but I think the dynamic that we have works really well for something like this, both in business and she's, in a lot of ways, I'm just like, me, I just like, let's
fire her up.
Let's go.
Fire her up. There we go.
So, everything's, a little bit wacky and a little bit more creative. And, Stella's more, all right, well, that's all well and good, but, we need to do this, and this, a little more structure involved. And, that translates over into our home life as well and things like that.
I wanted to ask kind of on that vein of like going back to how you said like acting as an advisor kind of thing. What's something, Stella, that you learned that like you didn't think you would? Obviously, I'm sure you got, even before you started this, I'm sure you talk business.
Just
and stuff
about like
that.
having a business?
But yeah, like what kind of surprised you about either starting a brand or running a business or whatever it is that you didn't expect?
Well, number one, it's always, what was crazy for me is I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but you never really realize how much work it also is. All the little things, the legal stuff, the document, the banking, like all the little things that you don't even think about. It's not just about like running your Instagram and getting followers and making sales, right? Yeah. Like there's so many little things. And also another thing that I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about is the kind of like the roller coaster of even before you start your business. Like before we even launched this, I went through like a dip. Like I was like, we shouldn't even do it. This is a horrible idea. I don't know what I'm doing. We got to stop. Right. And he's like,
stop the bleeding.
Okay. He's like, okay, well the graphic designer just sent the final labels and they're going to be printed. So you need to get your shit together basically.
The train's moving, baby. Let's go.
Get on or get off.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I was obviously passionate about this and I wanted to do it so bad, but there's also that kind of feeling of, is everyone going to like it? Is this even a good idea? Like, is it just something I like? Is it even going to work? Is it going to make people's skin better or worse? Like, you know what I mean? Like there is like a bit of a up and down to it. And I mean, people do talk about that, like in entrepreneurship and when you're having your own business, you obviously go through ups and downs, even with sales and everything like that too. But I found myself becoming super introverted, and I'm usually quite social and outgoing, and I like to be out and doing things, and I just
rollerblading.
Rollerblading. Yeah.
Not well.
Not well at all. And I just
tough stride.
Yeah. But I just
next time I see someone rollerblading, that's exactly what I'm gonna say to. Hey, Freddie Bender says tough stride.
Just start abusing people. Oh my god.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I just kind of you have that moment where I became a lot more introverted and a lot more critical even of myself, and I think that's important to kind of shine light on because it is something that. It was hard for me, and I have a lot of friends that have small businesses. That's very common in like my friend group.
Yeah.
And you don't always see that. You just see like okay guys, we're restocking, we sold out, blah blah blah. You just see all this fun stuff and all the good stuff. I mean, what is Instagram anyway? A highlight reel. But besides that, I mean, you never really see like the down parts where you're actually having a really hard time, like trying to figure it out. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into starting a business. And I became, you know, we lived together obviously as well. So he was the only person I was really seeing aside from maybe like my parents. And everyone's like, hey, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just starting a business. Like, I'm just doing my best.
Yeah, man.
I'm doing my best
That's
out
so
here.
funny. Sounds so much like Freddie. Like,
you're rubbing off, man.
Yeah, that's a very Freddie vibe.
Hopefully all the good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because a lot of people, when they're about to be, or when they're being an entrepreneur or on their way to start a new business or a new product, everyone thinks it's so easy. And it's just, oh, you know what? All I got to do is make sales. I have a lot of Instagram followers. This is going to be easy. It's like, that is not reality at all.
Not at
and
all.
I remember there was an article I read, one of those like random trashy websites like Narcity or something. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That was rude. One of those random websites like Narcity. It was an article about a girl who had like 100,000 followers, and she started a clothing brand. And she sold one sweater, so they started a GoFundMe page so that she can raise money to pay for her inventory, some BS like that. And it's so true. It's like followers does not necessarily equal sales.
Not at all.
Some people can think that.
I
And,
mean, if you're Kylie Jenner, yes. But
oh, well, yeah, okay. When you
Yeah.
got 32 million or however many.
No,
She
like,
doesn't
she's
have
like
followers. She
100
has soldiers.
Yeah, she has an army.
Yes,
Yeah. But it's true because, again, people think, oh, it's easy. I'm going to all I got to do is make a product. It's going to be good. I'm going to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand that, okay, the first product you make is probably going to suck. Like our first couple episodes in this were probably pretty bad, but we still thought they were amazing.
Wow.
It's humbling. It's humbling.
I was,
to like
I was
listen
pretty
back.
realistic because I was someone who had like a YouTube channel before. I was like, Rick's like checking the numbers, like, why aren't we growing? I was like, listen, we're just
So
two guys. We're not like celebrities.
But it's true. The first
fair.
couple products are probably going to suck. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board. You're going to have to reinvent the wheel almost, or for your product, the wheel. And then that's almost the easy part. Once the product's done, you got to market it. You got to sell it. Make sure your customer service is good. Make sure your branding is on point. Make sure all your socials are well kept. It's not easy at all.
100%. It ties back, and Freddie, honestly, not to keep pumping your tires, but one thing you
Pump
said.
'em.
No, but one thing you said last time, because we talked about how you started Mastermind, and from that point, I don't remember what month it was, but a lot has changed for us as well. Besides the podcast, like I'm sure most people know now, we have a startup that we're launching soon. I mean, we're not really at the point where we're talking about it too much, but it started as an idea, and like I'll never forget you said this. It goes to your point about like, you know, you think you have the greatest idea, and then you're like, wait, am I crazy? Like this is like no one's gonna buy this, and then you're like, oh, everyone's gonna buy it. Then you're like, it's almost like you go become a little bipolar or a bit, or like, you know, you start to question yourself. And you said that last time. You're like,
Yep.
you know, there's days where I'm like, oh, you know, am I nuts? And then there's other days you're like, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like you have that, but
That is him too.
that has stuck with me because I literally believe that. There's days I walk into whether it's at work or the office, and I'm like, we're gonna be billionaires. This is the greatest idea ever. Then days I walk in, I'm like, wait, like if it's this easy, how has no one thought of it? Wait, am I crazy? Like, am I wasting my time? And you flip flop, and that's not even to Ricky's point. Before you get to that part of like the inventory and all that stuff, when it's just an idea, getting ready to build out that idea and get the first product in hand.
Yep.
Like that's that point where you're like, it drives you a little bit crazy.
For sure. It's we did talk about this last time, but the entrepreneurial pendulum, right? And it's important to know that actually exists, right?
yeah.
Because if you don't know that exists, you get way too low in the lows, and you don't really even enjoy the highs while they're there, right? And I'm the first one to not enjoy the highs, sometimes, right? Because you're like, oh, I want to go higher, right? You always want to go a little bit higher, but you know, I think at the end of the day, what's interesting about this and what's interesting about you guys is you have each other, and we have each other, because if you don't have that person, or if that person's like super, super negative, or super, super positive, that's not good either. It needs to be a little bit of both, right? Like you need to have the best of both worlds there, because that's really what keeps you honest and keeps you hungry, right? Like you need to be hungry. If you're not hungry, you might as well just get a job, and nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you don't
have the swings day to day as much.
Exactly. Right. And your highs aren't also as high, right? When you're risking it, and you're
Risky
out
for
there,
the biscuit, baby.
That's it.
I think it's true though too, because especially with a partnership, I am not naive to the fact that it's a little risky to get into business with your partner. You know what I mean? But him and I, it's just
A lot of questions about this after too.
yeah, but
A bad day at the office
So do I.
translates to a bad day at home.
yeah. No, but
Sorry, yeah.
No,
The home is the office.
Yeah. But I think we push each other a lot, right? So like even when I was saying like those times where I was feeling really low, he's like, you got to get up, you got to do what you want to do. You started this for a reason, whatever. And then when he's feeling down, I got to do the same for him, right? And especially because he is an entrepreneur, right? That is the lifestyle, right? Freddie Bender. That's the lifestyle, right? So, and I admire that so much. Like that's one of the greatest things about him, I think. He has this passion and creativity and like zest for life. And I think that's super important in an entrepreneur and anyone in general. But I mean, to really succeed in that way, you have to have that, right? And I think the fact that we can bounce that off each other is really great, because there are a lot of times, like this whole thing is much newer to me, right? So there's a lot of times more for me where I'm like, oh, fuck, we hadn't had a sale this week. Like, what are we going to do? And he's like, you know what? We just got to get back on, work harder. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it sounds like an easy thing, but it really isn't, because there is a lot of competition in the world. There are a ton of people that, could go buy Kylie Jenner's skincare line instead of mine. But, you have to be like, this is why.
Why would you though?
Yeah. Why would you?
Buy Freeq.
But, this is why we do what we do. And I'm lucky, right? Like I'm really lucky that I had somebody that knew a little bit of this world, because I would not have done it without him. Like I just, it wouldn't have been something that I probably could have done it, but it would have taken me double the time, right?
We reference The Office a lot in this show, but
you do it once an episode lately. You bring them out like crazy.
Do you remember the episode?
Right now?
I watched it just study.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember the episode when Michael Scott starts the Michael Scott Paper Company, and he's making like 500 pancakes, and Pam's like, get it together. Yeah. Then the roles reverse at the very end. They didn't get the investors, the grandmother, whatever, and they come back and Pam's freaking out, and Michael just gets it together. It's like, we got this. We're gonna do this. Blah 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 blah.
The best, sorry, I will add one there. The best part of that episode is not that part. The best part is when he's selling the company to David Wallace, and he's telling him I have to outweight you, and he's like, you think I could run? Think this company goes bankrupt? I'll open another one. You know how many company names I got? And he just starts naming company names. Like that's so like.
No, but to that point, it is true. Like me and Georgie, we've got a couple. Besides this podcast, we have another startup that we're working on, and there's days where I'm just
Cast, for those who haven't seen all our posts.
Cast, baby. Oh
Cast.
yeah.
So
it's coming out. It's coming out
next month. So
30 days ish.
Well, depends when we release this.
Oh,
but
true.
yeah.
Maybe a little.
Anyways,
but it's coming out soon.
There's days where I've got no motivation. I'm just like, tough morning or tough day, and then Georgie calls me, pal, let's go. We got this. I just did this.
Texting in all caps.
And it's like, whoa, man, let's go. 180 vibes are on 100 right now. And then there's other days where I'm sure Georgie's not fired up.
He calls me and I just know, like, calls me once, we talk about something for work, I'll call you in like 15. And I know that next call is going to be in the car driving, and he's going to be fired up, and I'm not in the mood. Yeah. And he's like, pal, I'm like, fuck, what's up, man? I was like,
we just confirmed Penny Alexiak. Let's go.
But like the thing too is that it's good as someone to fire you up, but it also makes you accountable to somebody else, which is also very important. Because like there's those days where you need someone to motivate you. Like that's what's great about those days where I'm like freaking out, like shit, this thing's gonna burn to the ground. Like this is not gonna work. And he's like, yo, calm down. We're way farther ahead than we thought. So that's good to give you the confidence. But then there's also the days where when you can having that entrepreneurial spirit, you also just naturally you want to do it for yourself or whatever. And realizing that when you're committed with someone working, whether it's a friend, whether it's a partner, whether it's the business partner, you have that kind of in the back of your mind, like, okay, it's not just my livelihood, because if I want to take a day off, I can. But if I do that, I'm also letting someone else down, and they could be working as hard, or they're relying on me to do my part. So it's I guess it's a different dynamic, but having a partner work within business and pursue something, there's the downsides, but there's also a lot of pluses, which is great.
For sure. I just want to touch on accountability for a second too, because like that's such a big thing.
That was the name of our second episode we ever released.
Accountability.
It came up today on my
vulnerability and accountability.
There you go.
Accountability.
Yeah.
So touch up on.
Write that
hit
down.
us with it, Freddie.
I mean, you just got it. That's it, baby. Accountability. There we are. No, I think it's so important to build in those systems, because it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I got to be accountable to this person or whatever, but if there's no way to track accountability or to even just for yourself too, right? Like for me, if I don't some weeks like there's no chance I'm working out. Like it's just, emotionally.
You look like you work out every day, buddy.
Twice a day.
Freddie Bender.
No, like honestly, I try to do one thing, right? So even if it's like 10 push-ups, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, check, I did it, you know? And that to me is just an accountability system where physically I'm doing one thing, you know, mentally I need to be doing something, and financially I need to be doing something as well. So if I tick those boxes, at least one of them a day, I'm like, okay, well, I've at least been accountable to my success in one of these buckets, right? Because if you go a day with nothing in either of those buckets, I feel like I'm a very competitive guy. I feel like I lost that day. You know, that day was a loss for me, and I don't like losing.
No, that's sorry. What were the three you said? Financially, mentally, physically.
Yeah, those are the three. I mean, I would
buckets.
add socially as well, because I'm a social guy, and like, you know, social, I would put my family in there as well, and like touching base and stuff like that. You know, if I go a couple days without, you know, hearing my mom chew my ear off, then, you know, things aren't things aren't great. But you know, no, you got to keep that your finger on the pulse in your family, your finger on the pulse with your friends. And, you know, for me, I like being social as well and being out. So having that balance, it's tough. It's easy to fucking say, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's tough to have, you know, all those buckets filled at the same time. But as long as, you know, where you're at in your life, whatever's most important at that time, fill those buckets, and then, you know, focus on the rest.
I also think, you know, like, nobody's perfect. I mean, we can all see you all going to Barry's at 8 a.m. Like, we know everybody does their best. You know what I mean?
All the time. Going to Barry just so you know I went.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Right? You can all see on Instagram, like, everyone's like morning meditation, morning green tea. Like, you know, there's all these things that you see on social media. And, you know, there's days that I'm really succeeding in my mental, physical, emotional health, and there's days that I'm really not.
Can't get out of bed.
Yeah. And, you know, for us, it was really about like finding the things that we actually really enjoy and that work for us. Like, we do a lot of yoga, we do a lot of meditation. You know, just, we know our limits. And I think that's another thing. Like, I pick up on his vibe. I know, like, don't ask about anything right now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when you spend enough time with somebody,
different word,
like relationship or friendship, right? But I feel like you pick up on people's vibes, and you just know, you know, like, we know, like, at this certain point of a day, it's kind of like no more work, right? You kind of just have to be, because that is the thing about working with your partner, is you have to manage like the romantic side of things and the work side of things and your friends and your family and everything like that. So us like navigating that, luckily for us, it's been pretty easy just because we get along really well. But it is definitely like a different dynamic working with somebody that you are intimately in a relationship.
I wanted to ask, has there been a time where you guys maybe disagreed or argued personally that has affected the business, or vice versa? You guys got in an argument about the business where it's affected your personal relationship?
There's not like
I
a
don't think
standout that
Wow.
like moment that I was
That's
like,
good.
no,
We
like
don't-
little things,
yeah, like little things,
arguments, traditional.
Yeah, we have more
shit.
just like little.
You guys
Like, it's not like
bicker.
we don't, you know, if you don't fight, there's actually like a problem. But
Yeah.
like, we don't, it's not really like fights. It's more like, oh my God, take out the trash. I'm actually going to snap. You know what I mean? Like, or like,
It's like irritated, right? Like you're and it's not
bicker,
even
yeah.
irritated with the person. It could just be irritated with, you know,
In general.
a situation.
I think it is
Yeah.
important to note, a lot of times when you're annoyed or upset, it really doesn't even have anything to do with that person. You just fucking live with them or whatever it is, right? And it's like,
They're
it's
the
more
closest
like,
person to you, like by proximity, so they
yeah, or it's more like,
anger.
I was stuck in traffic and now I'm pissy, or like
Yeah.
I'm hungry, or whatever it is. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
I get
Okay, so I get that
hangry.
red balls
He-
around lunch. He's gonna
Guys,
get
I'm gonna
angry.
tell you all a little secret about Freddie. He gets hangry like you wouldn't even believe. And
But he's just
so
smiling.
what's
Ain't no
really
guy on
nice?
Snickers commercial.
Now I'm gonna
eh?
give you the other side though. What's really nice is he's very self-aware. So he does know that he's hangry, but there's nothing you can really do to snap him out of it. He's really just like,
Food.
he gets this very serious face. And like I just start getting nervous. Like I start sweating a little. I'm like, fuck, this whole car ride's gonna be an absolute nightmare. And I'm just, and then he eats
Just
like
get
a
road
fucking
rage 'cause
protein
I
bar or
didn't get it.
banana, and
Yeah.
he's like, baby, like, what's up? You know what I mean? I'm like,
It really
hello?
is like the Snickers
Like-
commercial. It's exactly like that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
So-
But
Great.
Yeah.
for a long time, I didn't realize it was even food. It was just like, oh, I'm irritated right now. You don't know why. Or, you know, somebody cuts you off in traffic and you just completely overreact. And it's probably just because I needed a Snickers
Little-
or something. You know?
Hey, Snickers, hit us up.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go, right?
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Oh, you guys seem to be doing great. And like,
Well, it is good that you're self-aware of it too, because even there's times where I get either irritated or I get bad headaches, and I'm like, hey, did I drink water? Did I
Yes.
eat? Did I sleep? If I did those three and I'm still pissy, I'm like, hey, something's up.
But
Something's
sometimes
going
you
on.
also
Right.
need somebody else to kind of point it out, right?
Right.
Because you can just have a shitty attitude, or like I'll just be like, "What's up? Like, what's going on with you?"
Oh,
Right?
when
You know
George
what
is
I mean?
hungover, I tell him like, George, you're a shitty person.
Listen, I used to say no one's perfect. I have my faults, and one thing I pride myself in is I think I'm fairly self-aware. But like, it's not just because I saw it all one day. Like, people tell me things, I'm like, oh, that's good, that makes sense. You don't want to hear it, but I won't forget. In Mykonos early, like last summer, not this past summer, the summer before. Rick looked at me one morning, because I was typical hungover George. Like, and I just like, mornings in general, I'm not a great morning person. I mean, yeah, no, some days. Anyways, I woke up and I was in a bad mood about something, and Rick looks at me. He's like, I know I've known you for 10 years. He's like, you're one of my best friends. He goes, but I hate being around you in the morning. And he's like,
No, when I said when you're hungover.
Yeah, something like that. And I said, yeah, when you're hungover, you're the worst person to be around. I didn't want to hang out with
I don't
you.
even like you.
From that day, I said, wait, I honestly said, I'm like, you know what? Like, I think a week later, I was so mad when he said this to me. I was like, what the fuck? Then I was like, you know what? Fair. And I'm like, I even asked like my siblings. I was like, is this like, am I that bad? They're like, you're the worst. So I made a point that I'm like, you know, just like, not just like, obviously you're gonna be hungover times, man. Like, you go out and drink, have a tired, or you're up late or whatever. But you make these conscious efforts, you become a little more self-aware, and you improve because, you know, the important thing too, whether it's through friendship, relationships, business, whatever it is, like the vibe, the frequency you give off will also affect the people around you too. And if you're going to be a miserable person, people don't want to be around you, they don't want to collaborate, they don't want to work with you, they're not excited. So even if you're having those down days, you got to put on that brave face, walk into the office or, you know, the kitchen, whatever the office is, and just like, you know, be a team player and suck it up. I don't know how we got
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with self-awareness though, because you mentioned, you know, going back to your original question, which was about scraps, and you know, we're like, you know, tilts at the workplace, and you know, I think both of us are self-aware enough to the point where you're like, oh, you know what? That one's on me. That's on me. Maybe not like right out of the gate. You know, I'll probably defend myself for at least 45 minutes, but after that, you know, that one was on me.
I'm also not a very angry person. Like, I'm very understanding. So before I get all upset, I'm like, okay, is he hungry? Is he, you know, upset?
That's the
You're
first
checking off. Is he hungry? Is he tired? Did he drink water?
Like, you know, just make sure. I mean, that's also goes back to even being in a relationship. You know, you have to nourish each other and kind of feed off each other's frequencies and things like that. You know what I mean? So you really have to. It's just learning about yourself and about other people. And I think also being in a relationship, romantic or otherwise, friendship, business, whatever, the best way to be the best person you can be, or at your best, as we say,
that was nice,
is just to know about yourself, right? And know who you are and what makes you tick. And the better you know yourself, the better that you can be with other people. You know what I mean? So that was a big thing for me to learn. I'm sure for him as well. You just have to kind of know yourself and know your strengths and your weaknesses, and kind of play to that, right?
Yeah,
well,
very true.
On that, I asked about have you guys ever fought, blah, blah, blah. But when you guys have a big win with the business, how does that affect your personal relationship? Like, I'll preface that. When I used to be in sales at one of my old jobs, whenever I had a big sale, I'd come home, I'd be like, okay, date night, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're greatest sex ever. Yeah, let's go.
I love how you hesitated that. You're so nervous to say it.
I usually don't talk. I don't talk sex. This is the first time I've ever talked sex ever. Yeah, the first time I've ever.
I knew we were going to push the boundaries.
I will say,
the first time I ever said sex on this podcast.
I will say mentally, physically, and spiritually, we treat ourselves. That's what I will say.
I like that. That's a proper answer.
Yeah,
I think that's a respectable.
Yeah, that's
that is.
Just in case my mother's listening.
Freddie, what's the Freddie Bender answer?
That's the answer.
That's so later off the air. But no, like for me, for a long time, obviously, real estate, it's kind of a solo game. Mastermind was a solo game for the first little bit until I brought on partners. I would go to Jacobs. Jacobs, as they call it, and just absolutely treat myself. Like I'd go not by myself. I would just go there by myself.
This one's a big old steak.
Big steak, you know, and just go nuts for one night, and then maybe it would carry over to the next one. But with us,
tough stride.
With us, we launched, we were up at my buddy's cottage, launched it. And you know what, the support from her friends and family and, you know, my close circle as well. We did very well in the first week. So we just kind of had, you know, while we were up there, just kind of celebrated. But you know what, hopefully there's more wins to come, because we'll figure out what our tradition is.
Will be.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll come up with our tradition for sure. I like having those little, you know, you know, hit 100
victories for the sale, for the you know, benchmark.
And just like all that kind of stuff, like just makes you like a happier person. Like you can't have a bad day when you have a win. You know what I mean? So
100%.
we just listen to good music and bash.
100%. Do you guys find, like both of you guys, I mean, you've been in the entrepreneurial game a little bit longer, but in general, even when you have like the bad day or like a down day business wise, or like they didn't hit sale, whatever. But then like the end of the week, you know, typically if I believe you're a positive person, you're in the right mindset, even if you're not hitting all the sales, whatever, by the end of the week, you can always look at the bright side of it. Do you guys do you find that the down days get you, or do you find that at the end of the week, you look back and you're like, even when it was bad, like there's still something good came out of this day? Or like, how do you guys take it? Is it day by day more? Do you look at it week, monthly? Like,
she's better at that than I am. I don't, I get a little more down on myself that way. If it's not a big week, it's like, all right, it needs to be bigger. But
I'm a very like spiritual person, I would say. So a lot of like
I had a feeling when you asked our birthdays. I
was just curious, really.
You know what?
What do they have to do with spirituality?
Because of horoscopes.
Oh,
horoscopes.
Oh, but I don't mean.
Thing,
I mean
no?
more spiritual and just like self. You know, like your self awareness and the way I look at the world and things like that. Like for me, in my whole life, like it doesn't even have to be in business. It can be with relationships or friendships or just anything. I try to look at it from a bigger perspective, right? And like you've heard the phrase, like it's a bad day, not a bad life, or things like that, right?
Yeah.
I try and think of it like everything happens for a reason. I, in a weird way, try to enjoy the bad moments or the down moments. Like even that time I was telling you about right before we launched, I was in like this kind of depressive state and not wanting to launch, because I try to enjoy that, because I think that it's part of the story. Right. And it's also part of your life. And a lot of people can even connect it to a relationship. You know, everyone's had a bad relationship, but you have to have that in order to appreciate a good relationship. Right. And you also have to learn about yourself and, you know, learn about what you like and what you don't like and what you're willing to put up with and all that kind of stuff. Right. So for me, I try and think, you know, this is just part of the story. This is just part of the journey. You know, does it suck? Yeah, but it's not my whole life. You know what I mean? I try and not get too down, because it also just affects my whole mental and my vibe and everything like that. And I don't want my frequency. And I don't want to really put that on anybody else. And, you know, when I'm really down, I just kind of do a meditation or something like that, or just spend some time by myself or
sage the whole place.
Once or twice. But just really look inwards more, because at the end of the day, those moments are really how you react, right? It's like if somebody cuts you off. Yeah, they cut you off, but it's really how you react. Are you gonna be like, oh fuck yourself? You know,
sometimes,
yes, we do, but you know, is it gonna?
I've blown like 4 horns in my life.
I've never even didn't know that's a thing.
Did
But
I until I blew the first one? Thought it was faulty.
But you know what I mean? Like it's more how you react to situations, and it's also part of growing up. Yeah. Right? It's also part of just living life, and you know, nobody's perfect. Obviously there's times where I've been like, fuck, my life is shit, like God, like I'm actually a disaster, like, you know what I mean? There's obviously times where you're more down, but I feel like also in a weird way, because I'm, you know, with somebody, I feel almost like I have to kind of continue to make myself better and be a good person, so that, you know, it doesn't rub off on him, or like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
sense of accountability.
Yeah,
to your partner.
Yeah, and I think being positive and optimistic, and you know, looking at the way the world is, like it's such a big place, and you can always start again. You know what I mean? Even though you don't want things to fail, but it's just part of it. You know what I mean? And I would always rather the shitty things happen to me, so I can say, if somebody comes to me, I can say, fuck, I've been through that. Let me tell you about my experience of it, right? Instead of just coasting through life. It wouldn't be fun, right?
Well, they
It's a
say
really good way to look at it.
you don't learn from the wins. You learn from the losses, right? It's not a
100%.
loss unless you don't learn something from
When
it.
have you ever stopped at a win and been like, oh my God, let me remember this lesson? You're out party.
No.
You're out like, Fred, let's
Well,
fuck.
And if,
Oh, baby, let's
if everything was like really fun and there was never any struggles, like life wouldn't be fun. If him and I never bickered, like we'd probably get so fucking bored. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, right? Like that's kind of like the fun. It's like a challenge, right? You just have to be like, okay, maybe this didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but what's the reason, right? And maybe there's something better coming, or there's a different way that it's going to happen for me at a better time, or in better company, or a different situation that's going to, affect me better, right?
One thing, like there's that old adage, like you said earlier, like everything happens for a reason, and all those things are kind of like cliche, but honestly, it's a kind of a common thing. A lot of people who are kind of either entrepreneurs or people who believe in kind of that positive vibe sort of path. But it is true, right? Things do happen for a reason, and you really will never know what those reasons are until kind of we're at the end of our time on this earth and all that stuff. But I do really believe if you look at things from a positive lens, or like a glass half full in general, I think just naturally your like the frequencies and the vibes gravitate are more positive than negative, right? It's easy to say being in a position where you have the opportunity and you're fortunate enough that you can start a brand, especially what's going on in the world, because obviously it's tough times all around. So we are very fortunate to be able to kind of pursue passions. But I do really think that there is a lot of the trials and tribulations that come with that. Like people don't see the downside, but I think that the ones that do persevere, make it past those really highs and really lows, and the average becomes more consistent, are the ones who look at it positively. Like you have to. You can go really, really down, have shit days, but like if you take it and say, okay, let me like analyze this and put it in perspective. What did I learn from this? What was really bad about it? How did it affect me? And then just, okay, don't let it happen again. Or next time it happens, I know what I'm doing and move forward.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not perfect. Obviously, like this, it's taken a long time for me to really get to this spot in my life where I'm able to do that. And there's times where it is a lot more emotionally driven, and I do have a lot harder of a time really breaking it down. And that's not to say that every time I'm able to be like, okay, what was upsetting about this, and why was it upset? Whatever.
Trying to break a plate or something.
Yeah. I'm not trying to get all life coachy on you guys. I'm just, but it is really part of it. And I think as long as you have your own ways of coping and dealing with things and working through stuff and having a good support group and just good people around you, life's a ride. You know what I mean? Like that sounds,
life's a ride.
You know what it is.
That's a good one.
I think that's fun of it. It's fun to fuck up. It's better if you fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like it's better to just fuck it up and get back on and have a good story to tell, right? Like that's what I think.
That's
anyway.
a great clip right there.
That's
that
the
down,
clip.
Rick. 56
I already
minutes.
did it. I did. I was like
Chalk
55
it
minutes.
up.
Chalk it up. That what you say is better to fuck it up. I actually really like that. We're gonna put that on the office wall.
It's also less
Better to
pressure when you think about it that way too, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it going like, okay, I'm going to learn from this. I know like what my junior coach that would fucking kill me if I, it was like, oh yeah, I'm trying to lose, but like you're not trying to lose. You're trying to learn, right? And if you approach it from that way of what she's talking about there, it's like you're not setting yourself up with these high expectations to be like, okay, well, I didn't hit that. Your goal was to experience. So no matter what the outcome was, you hit your goal because you experienced and you were a part of that. And that's very tough to do, especially coming from a sports background like myself. Like you're like win. That's what you're taught and that's what it needs to be. So if there's not a big win, you don't feel anything, right? Or you feel anger or that kind of stuff. But it's an interesting way to look at it, and it took me a while to obviously I'm continually learning from her as well, and that kind of side of things. I think also the other part, and we talked about like my experience with Mastermind, and the beauty of this, I think this dynamic is it's not like I've been at it for 40 years and I'm like, trying to preach to somebody, oh, this is back in my day, this is the way it used to be. It's like, no, I literally just went through this fucking 6 months ago. Yeah. And like, I know, kind of some of the pitfalls. So in that respect, it's exactly what she's saying. I needed to lose in those situations to come back stronger and win,
Yeah. One thing I was thinking as you both spoke there, and it kind of circles back, you brought up our second episode, accountability and vulnerability. And one of the things, like, I guess
Literally almost a year ago now.
No.
10 months ago.
Okay. I guess so. Yeah. But one
Carry the one.
Well, one of the things too is like that, I guess sitting here talking about it, like, okay, like, you know, persevere and take it in stride. That's also not to say, like, you had a point saying it's easy to say that now when you look back, but there's those days where like, it's okay to be vulnerable. And like, you know, recently we had like I had a tough day at the office, like not really bad, but you know, we took a bit of an L, and like, I can see the team kind of down, and I was like, you know what? Like, you got to be with your company, you got to be kind of like, put a bright face on it and be happy. But like, it's also okay days that are bad to wear on your sleeve. Like, you don't got to be always that fearless leader who's always walking in like nothing is wrong, because you're also human too. And you know, back in the day, that business mentality was like, you're the boss, you're the CEO, always be in a good mood or always be ready to run through a brick wall.
It's exhausting.
Honestly, yeah, it's so exhausting. And then it eats you up inside. Like, it's honestly okay to be, you know what, guys? Today was shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's shit, but we're going to work past it. We're going to move forward. So just that whole thing kind of tied back to like, not to sit here and preach like, oh yeah, we're always positive or always smiling and like, yeah, everything's great. No, because some days it's not one of those fucking days. And you just got to kind of roll with the punches, and it's okay to be vulnerable, be down, but you know, you got to, again, look at the glass half full and stuff. But
I think that's a huge thing too. Like, especially nowadays with social media and things like that, like I find it's almost difficult to be like confident with, you know, there's always people posting their best photos and all their accomplishments and all the cool places they're traveling to. And you're like, wow, like I'm just starting a measly little business or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, not that it's measly, guys. It's really good. But anyway, but you know what I mean? So it's
I love when people look at the camera, by the way.
So I don't know. I'm like, where do I look?
Fires me up.
But it's really easy to get down on yourself or think lower of yourself because of expectations and everything that everyone else is doing, right? And that's something I still work on every day. I'm not saying that I've hit the mark and I'm fine and nothing bothers me, but I think it's really, really tricky to like just center yourself and protect your energy and kind of not let those things bring you down and stop you from what you really want in life. Because guys, at the end of the day, like you're the only person that you're going to be with when you die. You know what I mean? So you have to really just do.
She listens to the podcast.
1 or 2 episodes.
I echo that a lot.
Pumping Rick's tires there. You knew he was going to get all excited.
It's true. Like you're the most important person to yourself.
Yeah. And I just, you know, you have to love yourself the most. And I think what's really special is when, you know, you can love yourself even in solitude and be by yourself. Like what's really cool about us being together, I think even, or you know, as partners and as business partners as well, is we would both be fine if we were by ourselves. But it's not like we need each other, but it's like the cherry on top. You know what I mean? So we both work great individually, but together it's even better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And I feel like that's probably the same with you guys. Like you're both very high energy, passionate people and you love what you do, but together it's like this dynamic duo. You know what I mean? So I think that's really special as well.
Honestly, I don't think we've ever said this on this podcast. I remember like, I've known her for a long time. I think one of the reasons we stayed close growing up is like we didn't live together in university. We kept our separate spaces because we were very similar in personality, very strong and opinionated. We would argue for the dumbest things ever, and then after we'd be like having the other day, and I was like, man, I'm gonna stop and just arguing with you to argue. So this is dumb. But one day he asked me, he's like, do you think we could ever work together? This is like a year ago. And I was like,
that's a couple years ago.
Yeah. Because we had like an argument about something, and after he asked me, do you think we'd ever work together? I'm like, this is like test. Like why is he asking me this? But I always thought about it.
About to pitch him something.
I don't even know what it was.
Get ready, because we're about to.
Then we started the podcast, and I was like, okay. We disagreed on stuff, and I was like, okay, I can see like Ricky's really fired up about this. I'm like, why? I don't know about podcasts. I'm gonna trust him. Like, let's start working together, and like, you know, then we started the app, and like, I thought there's times where I think I know everything. I'm like, this gotta do this way. But then the day, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if you think it's gonna work, let's try it. If it fails, I'm not gonna say I told you so. If it fails, we learned and we try something new. And honestly, man, I can't speak for you, but I think that since we started this podcast and our startup, I think we argue, like, I don't know, we still debate stuff, but it's just different. It's like,
we don't argue, we debate.
Yeah, we debate. Before it was like,
our last argument was Kazimoto. Remember that one? That was a dumb one.
No, but I was right. Actually, we can ask Freddie about this after. He'll settle it for us.
Okay, well, I could be the ref. Yeah.
I forget where I was going. Oh yeah, because I have this belief, right? There's two different things to that point. It's like, I don't know if I phrase it properly because But anyways, I consider there's arguing and there's debating. And there's people in life who argue, which is arguing is what a lot of people do in that they want to just get their message across. They're not hearing what you're saying.
Right.
So they're just trying to jam their point down your throat. Debating, or I guess discourse is a better word, is when you're willing to hear the other person's point of view, not necessarily agree with it, but hear it and rebuttal to that point, and you go your separate ways. We used to argue. Now it's more like discourse. Like we'll say, okay, like he'll even say, he's like, I don't agree with that, but cool, like it's fine. Let's move forward.
Yeah, you can
That
agree to
makes sense.
disagree, right? That's part of.
But you're willing to hear the person out.
For
and
sure.
people at the end of the day, you want to be like, be heard and all that kind of
It's
stuff.
also a level of respect that you guys have gained by seeing each other in a professional situations, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're meeting somebody new for the first time, putting on your game face is completely different than you guys meeting up at Ruby Soho and bashing all night. You know what I mean? Like that. It's a different dynamic.
Shout out Ruby Soho, the boys.
Yeah,
Ian,
what a
Archie,
spot!
the rest
What
of
a
the boys.
spot! Anyways, you know what I mean, though, and I've had the pleasure of working with a number of my friends, and seeing those two different dynamics, and I think it is a different level of respect, and I think that's something we've learned about each other too, is seeing each other. Sitting down, we sat down with one of the biggest skincare manufacturers in Toronto.
Heck yeah.
And just sat down. I mean, obviously we went a different route, but it was the first time I ever saw her with her game face on, and bringing.
You were fired up.
Oh yeah.
Stride looked
She
good that
really-
day.
Yeah, she had the blazer going. She was ready to go.
Yeah.
No, but even on that, George, with me and you, I think if we would have been partners in something when we were younger, I don't think we would have been, because there's times where I know when to be the chief and there's times where I know when to be the Indian. If that's even politically correct to say these days. I don't know.
I don't know.
We know what
chef-
you're
the
saying.
chef-
You know what I mean?
Right,
The
yeah.
chef and the cook,
chef and the
and
cook.
whatever.
Right.
Too many
So-
cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you know?
there's times where I know, okay, you know what? George feels very strongly about this. I'll step down. I'll let him take charge on
Yeah.
it. Even his small things when we travel.
Right.
Like when we go to Mykonos, it's like, just let George do everything.
Right.
This is
Right.
my
This is-
that's my
that's his
vibe.
talent. He
I
wants
also
to do
speak
it.
the language. I
Yeah,
also
he
know
wants
the
to do it.
place.
He wants to do it. So George, you take charge, buddy. I will follow your lead. And it's like we go to Ibiza. I'm not saying that like Ibiza's my thing.
Or
but it's like,
Croatia. This guy's Croatia's Ricky's.
But
George just planned
Disneyland,
4
eh?
days in Mykonos. Okay, I'll take this one, George. Just saddle up, buddy. Like, let's go.
Settle up,
Are we in
partner.
Rome?
That's a
And then
good
we're in
friendship.
Rome.
That's
We
a
hit
good.
Rome,
That's a
yeah.
good friendship.
So now the older we got, I think we can understand our strengths and weaknesses a little bit better, and because of that, we're able to work together and play as a team in a lot of situations.
Hell yeah.
Like even with this podcast, like he knows, like, okay, I'll take the lead on the podcast.
Thank God he gets
Yeah.
as fired up as he does, because this podcast would not be as sick.
Yeah. Anyways. And then we have the app. It's like, hey, George, this is your baby. Like, you take charge
Yeah.
in this. Let me know what I need to do. So we play off each other. And Chocolate is working pretty well.
We out here. It's a vibe. I don't know what to
It's a
say,
frequency.
man. It's a
It's a
frequency.
frequency.
It's a
That's the
frequency.
Sorry, but I did want to touch back up on this. What is, so you said there's going to be more products coming out later. Sorry. What's the rest of 2020 hold for you guys? Are you doing anything fun, cool, any new products? What's the plan for Freeq?
Yeah.
Holiday kit for sure.
Yeah, we definitely were gonna launch something around the holidays. Stay tuned for that. It's gonna be really exciting. I'm really excited about it. The reason we started with the moisturizer and cleanser, those are the two not most important, but the two most general products of a
Staples.
skincare
Yeah,
routine,
yeah.
like men and women. Mine's a little more extensive personally, but I know for a lot of men, like they'll just wash their face, maybe moisturizer if we're lucky. But yeah, so we're gonna do.
Moisturize. Holy crap! I'm just thinking about that. I don't even moisturize
in the
right now.
winter.
Well, now
like I
you
do all
will.
the time.
Yeah,
Now you
lip chap,
will.
yeah, in
Yeah.
the winter lip chap and moisturizer.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
hilarious is like when I met him, he didn't even, not to put you on the spot here, but he didn't even wash his face or moisturize.
Damn, he looks that
Natural. I
good.
was gonna say,
And I'm
naturally
like,
beautiful.
so
It's a
it was
natural
so
musk.
annoying. I'm like, you're naturally looking like this. I said, I've been going through this for years. Like, you bitch. I was so mad. I was so mad that him and his sister both have gorgeous skin naturally. It's actually the most annoying thing. And me and my sister are just like the fucking gremlins. Like, just disgusting. Like, had to work
for
very
people
hard.
listening, for people listening that aren't watching on YouTube, she's not a gremlin
Yeah.
even in the slightest. Like, come on. Like,
No,
think
but
gremlin, you
had
look
to
at my
work a
feet,
lot
so that's
harder
what, like,
for the
gremlins
skin.
look
You know what I
like.
mean? Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that's kind of why we started with the moisturizer and cleanser. I will probably eventually like to do an acne line because it's very near and dear to my heart, and do like a toner and do a lot of other cool, fun stuff. The possibilities are kind of endless with this, right? Because it's all frequency based. I would also like to do maybe like a serums and different types of creams. Like my dad, he's the same, doesn't moisturize, like doesn't really wash his face ever. And he was like, he tried to like secretly order a moisturizer off his like business account, and I was like, Dad, you know I can see the address, right? Like I know it's you. And he's like, oh really? Yeah, he already put his second order in. Shout out to my dad.
Shout out
to my dad.
I love when she looked at the camera too. Shout out.
I don't even know if
a
I
real
listen to
shout out.
this,
You'll
but
probably
yeah.
listen.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, so it's good for boys and girls, and I tried to make this super general, and by that I mean it's good for all skin types. Super gentle, good for sensitive skin. Not a lot of fragrance.
It does smell unreal.
I was gonna say
it does smell. Yeah.
What's that main smell?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. It is neroli. And
what's
neroli
neroli?
is
I'm at my
a plant.
cologne, Neroli Portofino, baby.
Oh,
That's the best.
there we
I don't know the
go.
same thing, but it smells great.
Hello.
Sorry.
But yeah, so
smell that.
neroli is like an essential oil. It was honestly one of my. That's the cleanser. That's the cleanser. You can. No, I saw you rubbing it into your hand earlier, and I didn't want to say anything because George
I
was
let
talking.
it happen.
But
I saw it. I just let it happen.
that is not a true friend. But no,
No, because it's
whatever.
Not
You're
do
just
any harm.
cleansing your. No, it won't do any harm. Honestly, it's no. It's fine.
See that it's
Yeah.
vegan and animal cruelty free.
It's all vegan, cruelty free,
Locally made. Like,
all
this is,
it's
to the
sustainable.
nines.
But yeah, so basically the scent is neroli, which is an essential oil. It's one of my favorite smells in the whole world. So I knew when I was making this that I wanted to have
That was
that.
it.
And also essential oils in low doses are good for the skin. So it's not like filled with fragrance or anything like that.
Neroli.
I love how
His
he's already put his hand up. Can I talk?
Question.
Yes. Ready?
So I mean, I was learning. Obviously skincare was new to me when we started this thing. I know our main ingredients and stuff like that. Neroli, that comes from orange peels.
Yeah,
Okay, I was
sorry.
gonna
so
say that's what I thought the
sorry,
smell
yes.
was. Orange.
So yes, thank you for reminding me.
Right, because
So
I wasn't 100%. I don't want to attach my name to
Miss.
that right now.
Yeah.
Unless
So-
it's 100%.
Neroli is actually part of the flower. It's the flower that grows on orange trees. It's like a white flower. And then there's orange, neroli,
Sorry,
and
oranges grows flowers?
yeah. So
News
it's orange.
to me, buddy.
We're getting real
But
educated
hey,
today.
yeah,
I always thought oranges
Yeah,
grow on
well,
trees.
explain for Rick. People
No.
don't know.
No, but it's neroli,
Got it.
orange, and petitgreen. So they're all part of the same plant, essentially. So if you let the orange go into full bloom, essentially. So the petitgreen is like the bark that would grow, and then the neroli is the flower, and the orange is obviously the orange. So that they call it like the perfect trifecta because it's all from the same plant. That's what gives it the scent.
full spectrum.
Full spectrum. Yeah.
That's what we use in the CBD world. Full spectrum.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and then the other main ingredients are sea buckthorn, which isn't actually a very common ingredient. Like not a lot of people know about it.
Where do you find that?
It's like East Asian.
Okay.
Like you can't get it in North America, but it's actually like this miracle berry. So it's a berry. It's a small orange berry. It's really small. It's like the size of like a marble. Sorry for those who can't see. And
She's a quick learner over here, right?
yeah. And it's actually like an incredible fruit. So what's really cool about sea buckthorn is it's like has the highest form of vitamin C than any known fruit. Like say goodbye to your oranges, guys, because sea buckthorn's coming in hot. Okay.
That's Freddie Bender.
Yeah, you guys are rubbing off on each other here.
Love this.
A lot of
Yeah,
vibes.
he has a little
time.
bit of me. I have a little bit of him.
So there's a lot of like orange I'm getting here. Is like, but the name is Sunrise. So is the brand look supposed to be more sun related, like glow? Is it more orange? That type? Like, what's the
Yeah.
whole vibe there? The whole narrative,
So-
I guess.
Yeah, so when we were designing the packaging, I really wanted it to reflect light. That was the main thing. And Sunrise was just because I knew I kind of wanted to do a line of this. So this is supposed to be like a daily cleanser, daily moisturizer. You can use it in the night as well. I don't really market it as a night cream because some people prefer something a little heavier or thicker. but you can use it for both, of course. So that's why I chose the orange and the yellow. Those are both like colors of the sun, and I just loved those. Those are my two favorite colors. And I really wanted to kind of just embody light and sun and everything good in life. So that's why I chose those colors. And then the kind of the dots you see on the side.
Oh,
on the side, yeah. Those are
frequency.
Yes, those are the frequencies. It's supposed to be reflective of the frequency. So that's kind of how the labels came to be. But there was a lot of like thought that went into it. It wasn't just like we threw some colors on and called it a day. But yeah, and so also just to note, the yellowish color that it has is the sea buckthorn. It's a bright orange. It's a very potent berry. So the juice, like this, or sorry, the oil of the berry is super, super orange, like a deep, deep dark orange. So that's what gives it the color. There's no like added colors or anything like that. It's just all natural.
That's great.
I do love that it's all natural, vegan, animal cruelty free, because I feel like especially now in today's society, those are very important.
Staples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to be on, that's, I mean, obviously our own personal beliefs, but we feel as though, that's the kind of companies you want to support. And that's the kind of product you want on you, right? And
that's
as
where
natural as
the
possible.
industry's going. Everyone wants to be, everyone's a lot more cognizant now about what they put into their bodies and what they put on their bodies, right? And the demographic that we're kind of going for are people that are aware of that. So that's why I wanted to be very natural. And to be quite honest with you, during my skincare journey, what I found is my problem was I was hopping around to a lot of different products, and that can go for anything like hair, skin, anything. You have to really stick to something for it to work. It's not going to work overnight, right? So if something didn't work for me in 2 weeks, like if my acne wasn't clearing up in 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, this stuff is shit. I got to go to the next thing. You know what I mean? So I prefer the natural stuff, but I did have to kind of detox my skin a little bit because I was using all these synthetic fragrance, filler products for years, and it was clogging my skin, and that was part of the problem, right? So natural, a lot of people have this weird idea of natural skincare and that it doesn't really work, but you just have to commit to it, just like anything else, just like a diet or, anything like that, right?
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job. I think it's just like the like it just looks like it's got good frequency.
Good
I
vibe.
can see you put the mic up. I knew
You
it's
saw me
coming.
raising the mic.
No, honestly, you guys did a great
Thank
job.
you.
The brand's good. I'm a big proponent of keeping my face clean and like
Yeah, I want to
moisturized,
see you in 2 weeks. I
so
want to
will
see
use it.
before and after.
I'll do that. You know, like how they do that, like on the commercial, the before after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need that.
Let's
That's
go.
Pretty good skin though. Just
You
natural.
do, you
pimples lately,
guys,
though.
yeah, you guys aren't our best customers because you already have glowing skin. So
Oh,
You know, it's funny too. I'm like
tires.
Freddie. I don't wash my face often. When I was a kid, my grandmother, she told me every day you gotta wash your face, but she would just take a cloth with water and wipe it. So I just have a habit of always doing it, and I was never like I don't moisturize my face often. Like I mean, I have a little bit of stuff, but yeah,
I-
natural,
yeah, one thing I actually really do is I always have a face
Wipe.
not wipe. In my shower, I keep a face like
face cloth.
cleanser.
Oh, cleanser.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
something specifically for my face. Ever since I had acne, I've always had a separate thing. 'Cause I'm like a bar soap guy. Like typical, like,
yeah.
hockey player. I don't. I
Meat-
grab the
meat
soap.
and
The soap
potatoes,
goes everywhere.
yeah.
Like, don't care.
Meat and
Rinse it
potatoes.
off. We're good to go tomorrow.
Oh, gnarly.
Yeah. So, but I've always had a separate face cream, face something.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So now I got
I
a
thought
new
you were gonna tell me
product.
you
Well,
use
now
like 3 in
you
1
know
on your
what? Now
face. I'm
we-
like, that makes me shiver.
No, I do not do that.
Now we have a product that we're gonna try. We're gonna post. Probably, you know what? By the time this one's like, we'll have some sample
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
whatever, and we'll
definitely
give
test it out.
Yeah, we'll critique it.
Yeah,
I'm
let
gonna
us know what
post
you
my
think.
skincare routine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
my
you go.
favorite thing about the moisturizer, actually, aside from it being a great product, is the container. The container is something that it's hard to find. It's a pump, so but it pumps up, like it comes up through the.
Do you know?
There's a
Yeah.
hole on top there.
I've literally.
So I was wondering. I was like,
So it's it's
clean.
cleaner,
Yeah.
right? It's cleaner. Number one, you're not sticking your fingers in a jar, and number two, it uses all the products. So once that's empty, it's like
nothing.
clear. It looks like
It's so funny. My mom, one of her cousin in Italy is super vegan, all natural, blah, blah, blah. And I have something called tinea versicolor. It's like these spots on my skin, these kind of like white faded spots. And this is kind of random, and I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but the doctor, the doctor told me I have to put Selsun Blue on because the chemical that kills dandruff also kills this cream, blah, blah, blah. And I was telling my mom about this. She asked her cousin in Italy, and she said, no, don't put chemicals on your body, blah, 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 blah. So when she came here about a year ago, she gave me this moisturizer, cream, special, whatever. And it came in a similar container to that where it's like the top pump. And I'm not kidding you. It took me a good 10 minutes to figure it out. Because it was all in Italian. And I
speak Italian.
Well, reading and speaking are a little bit, and speaking drunk are very different things. So I'm there, my mom wasn't home, and I'm like, gosh, trying to twist it off, peel it off.
Oh my God.
And then eventually I Googled it and it said, pump it. Fuck, I feel like an idiot, but.
Well, now all our listeners know not to twist it and do that.
Pump
it.
You went through that so that you could figure this
there you
out.
go.
Right?
So I saw it right away
in life, that moment of low.
Yeah.
So now you can experience
Everything happens for a reason.
I saw it right away. I was like, that's great.
It's also great because instead of like sometimes I'm a nut job, like I'll just fill up like my whole palm with cream, right? Like
Picture Freddie doing his hair. He's got a whole bottle of gel.
Oh my God, yeah. Kevin Murphy, shout out. There you go. Yeah, no, that just gives you like a nice little pea
Perfect
size,
amount, right?
perfect
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
I was going to say, so how much do you use? Is it little pea size? Or
Yeah,
one
so
pump?
you just do one
full
pump. That's usually enough for your face unless you're super dry and you need more, but usually one pump should be good. And the same with the cleanser, 1 or 2 pumps.
I feel like guys in general don't know that. Like, there's times I'll be washing my face. I think I was like, my parents' house, and I put like a bunch of like face wash in my hand. I was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know, it's soap. You're supposed to use a lot of soap. She's like, you're supposed to use like this much.
Yeah.
And I watch her do it. I was like, how do you get all of that onto your whole face? I have to like, just like.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Usually I say more is more.
Common misconception for people like me who are not as educated in this stuff.
Yeah. Another random story, but I didn't realize how much product I use in anything until I had a roommate, Dave Perello. You know, Perello, shout out Dave, one of our boys.
Legend.
So when I lived with him at Western, he'd be like, how do we go through so much shampoo? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, how much shampoo do you use?
I use
and
so
I just
much.
I was like, Rick, you have short hair. Like, you need like nothingness. And I was like, okay, fine, great. Next day, how much body wash do you use? I don't know. I just cover the whole loofah.
Yeah, the same way.
Oh, and then the best, toilet paper. I would just take like 10 sheets, fold it in half.
Yeah.
He's like, Rick, you fold them into like 3s. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, you fold it like a sheet of
you
paper.
fold?
Yeah, I don't
Fold it like a sheet of paper. I'm like, I usually just fold in half and half and half and half. He's like, Rick, it's a waste. So yeah,
I'm the same. I'm the same.
I had no idea.
When I had hair, I realized how little. Like, anyways,
rabbit holes.
Man, it's crazy how much. I wasted so much money over the years, like toothpaste, everything. Just load everything up. The more the merrier.
That's how I used to think. The
merrier.
more toothpaste, the whiter my teeth are going to be.
It's a good point there to.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to start
going down
wrapping
some
up.
digressions here.
But guys, this was awesome.
This was
a frequency.
There you go.
It's a pleasure, Freddie. As always, it is a pleasure having you on.
Man, you guys
we
are
will
the
definitely
best.
get you back on just for fun in the future. Stella, was this your first podcast?
This was my first podcast.
Wow,
guys.
another
it.
podcast virginity.
I know. I'm so honored. Thank
You
you so
guys
much for having me.
We're honored.
You guys, honestly though, like great
First
dynamic,
couple,
great
yeah,
vibe.
this was a
Yeah,
vibe.
guys,
Cool.
The future is for sure bright for free.
Yeah, and we're gonna well, actually, after we ask our last 2 questions, we'll do the plug. But again, thank you for coming. Fuck, I said again. Thanks for coming on, guys. You guys were amazing. We have 2 questions we always ask, Freddie. We've already asked you, so you should be well prepared in this.
Okay.
If you fully listen to the very end, you should know these
I already
as well.
know what's coming, and okay.
Okay,
Just ask it.
At least you listened to the end. So the first question, and Freddie, I think we got your answer, but we'll re-ask you anyways. If there was a movie about your lives, who would you want to star as you?
Oh wow!
I have
Did
another
you ask
question
me
on
this?
that vein.
I think you already asked him though.
Freddie, we definitely asked you. I remember your answer, I think.
Oh really? Okay. Well, there's like one for looks and then one for like personality, I guess.
Go on, give us both.
Or you just do.
No, give us
together.
both. Whatever you want.
You know what? I actually think. Emil Hirsch is a legend. Is that
Sick.
his name?
Into
That's
the
not what you
Wild.
said last
Into the
time.
Wild.
Wild, yeah.
Who did I say last time?
Continue, and then I'll tell you who I
Johnny
think.
Depp, maybe.
I think you
That's
said
what I was gonna
yeah.
think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think you
Oh
said
yeah,
Depp.
yeah. I think he's a legend too. Or the guy, I always draw a blank on his name, but the guy from Game of Thrones.
Jason Momoa.
I
Is that what you're
mean,
thinking of?
I'm a little smaller than Jason.
Okay, well.
Aquaman.
No, not him.
You meant Jon Snow.
Oh, Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What's
When
his
we
name?
had the
Hutchinson,
flow, I had the
Hutchinson
flow
or
down. I
Hut-
would have been a. Yeah.
Hutchinson something.
blank?
Hutcher.
No.
I don't
I
know.
don't know his name.
Everyone
I don't
knows
know
who we're
his-
talking about.
yeah,
Jon
anyways.
Snow.
But
I-
yeah, mainly because I heard that he was like a legend at the bars. I don't know. I don't know if that was true. But
You're a legend at the bars.
I just thought he was like a good guy. Like he used to buy the bar like rounds in London and stuff like that. So Yeah. Anyways.
I literally can't think of any actor or any movie I've ever seen because you asked me that question. I'm actually sweating. I have no clue.
Who I thought you
Or
kind
did I
of look
tell
like that Elizabeth Hurley, a little bit.
That's
Oh.
not, they're not saying looks. They're saying.
Oh,
Well, it doesn't
Elizabeth Hurley's from Austin Powers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I kind
I
of saw
think
that.
I'm trying to think of like I want somebody funny, like witty. I don't know. It's a tough question. You know what? In terms of like acting, I always thought Margot Robbie was a really good actress. Sorry, I think she's really cool.
For
But
sure.
I don't know if she has like the wit or the humor. So I'm trying to think of like a nice like a comedian.
To be
What
honest,
if
I don't even know
Margot's
if Margot
watching
Robbie's a
this? You're
good
gonna-
actress or not. I'm just so
I
mesmerized.
feel like she's
Margot's
I feel like she's so
watching
Sorry,
mesmerized
Marco,
with her-
if you're watching.
Yeah,
you're
you're
really great
chirping
at it.
Margot, and she's
Sorry.
probably watching the
Well,
past podcast.
Margot, we'll make it
Margot,
up
if
to
you
you.
are
We'll let you on the
watching,
podcast.
you're literally like my number 2.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa, number 1, and Margot Robbie a
Lipa?
close.
Wow.
Really?
Margot Robbie and the Wolf of Wall Street, like man.
Dua Lipa
Yeah.
is
What
like
is
my,
it? We'll
I'm
talk
obsessed.
later.
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Okay,
what was your-
before we ask my question, I actually had an idea. If there was a rom-com made about your relationship, who would star in the rom-com?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is.
What's a good rom-com? Maybe Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston. I feel like they're a good mix. What? What's wrong with Paul Rudd?
Wait, you know what movie that is? The what?
The Wonderlust.
Oh,
That's a great
that's
movie.
actually
What do you
hilarious.
mean?
I showed someone that
You
clip
love
the
that
other day.
movie.
I do
in
love
the
that
mirror.
movie. Yeah, it's good.
Dude, that movie is
You
so
gonna
funny.
get? I'm not gonna
It's
do
good.
it.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm gonna. He was exquisite. I
Yeah.
can't say.
Yeah,
But
you know,
I won't say, but you
another
know.
good one
Yeah.
is not Friends with Benefits. The other one that's similar to that
Oh,
with Ashton
No
Kutcher.
Strings Attached.
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher and
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys are
maybe
welcome
those
for
two.
that one.
Yeah.
Guys,
Thank you.
A lot of people know this. I do have a favorite rom-com of all time, and I've watched it many times.
What is it?
Crazy Stupid Love.
That's my favorite.
great.
That's a
Ryan
great
Gosling
one.
and
Okay,
Steve
you
Oh,
know
he's a
what?
machine. Yeah.
Yeah, at the
Legends.
end of the
Yeah.
movie, towards the end, it's like,
David Lindhagen.
hold my
Yeah.
ring.
This watch out. That's what. Honestly, that movie.
I might watch that tonight.
That's
I
a
watched it the
great.
other
We should
night.
watch that tonight. That's
Do you
a
know
great
what rom-com
movie.
I
We're
watched the
watching
other
The
day?
Boys.
A friend of mine
Oh,
was,
yeah, we're
was
watching The
talking
Boys,
about it.
yeah.
I watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And
First
Oh,
date
that's
I
good
ever
too.
went on in my life was that movie.
so many people say it's their favorite rom-com. I thought it was absolutely terrible.
It's not great.
And I love Matthew McConaughey. I think he's just an overall good dude.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate his vibe and everything he does, and did not just enjoy that movie at all.
Didn't live up. You know, maybe you set the bar a little high.
It made because I'm basing it on like 2010, 2020 Matthew
Right.
McConaughey.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
like 2000s.
Yeah, I think it was early on.
Yeah.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
honestly,
That's
Crazy
before he
Stupid
was
Love.
like-
Such a
Yeah.
good movie. That's such
All
a
right,
good
all right,
movie.
all right.
Yeah. We're watching The Boys right now. I don't know if that was the question at all.
That wasn't.
Oh, okay.
But thanks for coming out.
I heard that's good though.
you, buddy. I love you.
I'm making my own questions up here.
All right, let me guess the last one.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to your younger selves, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I would.
You know the question.
No, I'm
Oh,
saying.
you didn't listen to the end?
No. I'm trying to think.
We got you. It's okay.
We gotta
Continue.
we'll put everyone on the spot like that, or like
Maybe we should give him a heads up.
No.
text. No, because it's
No,
more
no,
spontaneous.
it's-
It's
yeah.
more
The only
authentic.
the only one I
It's from the heart.
remembered was the actor one. Sorry,
My
guys.
questions.
That's a great
Mine's better.
question.
Did you
I
know
would
this?
probably
No.
say, and he's gonna probably like this, but I would say nobody cares because that's his favorite line. But it's so true because I think especially when you're younger, you just think that everybody's watching you and everyone gives a fuck what you look like and what you're doing, and that's couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the less I give a fuck, to be honest. And it's so true, and it's just so much more fun to live your life the way you want to live it. So that's probably what I would say.
I love that.
I've started thinking that like recently too. Like just like you always think like everyone cares what you're doing, and like, oh, I messed up. Like people are they're probably at home laughing.
Nobody gives
Yeah.
a
Like
shit.
no one gives a
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
People are worried
Yeah.
about their own lives.
Exactly.
And
Unless
honestly,
it
Oh my god, I'm wearing the
immediately
same
affects
jeans
them.
2 days in
Yeah.
a row. They're gonna notice. Like gives
Yeah.
a shit.
Yeah.
I've been wearing
Yeah,
these
and
for
nobody
4.
remembers
Yeah.
either. Like,
No.
and if they do, like,
Then
give them $5.
We even always joke about it during when we travel and we're taking selfies or dumb pictures or videos, whatever.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing.
we always say, I'm like, I'm never gonna see these people that are staring at me ever again.
Never.
Ever.
No
We're
chance.
in, Budapest right now. What are the chances that
We rode that double bike.
Yeah, we rode a double bike through Budapest and we're taking videos for
Tandem
George's
bike.
vlog.
That's one
And
of
like
my-
we're doing like 6 takes.
No, that intro was one of my favorite vlog intros
Yeah.
I've ever done, though. It was funny.
And we look like idiots, but who cares? We had a good time. We were laughing about it. We still laugh
Yeah.
about it
But
too.
did you have fun?
Oh,
We had a
That's what
blast.
matters.
hard though. Tandem bikes, common misconception.
Yeah.
Lot
They
harder
are
than riding a
very
single
hard.
bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially when I got
Very
this thick man's on the end of it.
The best thing was me chasing the bike. Anyways, we won't get to that.
Freddie, what about you? I don't remember your answer.
It was probably nobody cares, but
Give us a different one.
yeah. I think it would be along the lines of, really figure out what you want earlier and dial into that, because I felt like it took me a while. I was, I don't want to say I was so consumed by hockey, but that was the majority of my life was playing hockey, and that's really all I knew. And I thought, maybe if I went back to a younger me, maybe pick up the guitar a little earlier, maybe, try more, and try harder. I think that in whatever you do, I think maybe that what I would say is try. And that goes across the board. I think, there's sometimes in life you feel like you have the ability to do a lot of things. So there's so many doors that you could walk through, and then you stand there frozen, not walking through any of them. And I think that's like one of the biggest hindrances for a lot of people, is the fear of just walking through any of those doors, because you can go into all of them. Whereas, some people, they have the blinders on and they have that one door that they know they want to walk through, and they're not stopping at anything to get through that one door. So yeah, I don't know. I think I was just saying
that was great.
I just blacked out there for a second, but
No, that was honestly very sound, very good advice.
Do you know in old school? we're on the same frequency
That's the
today.
frequency,
We're on the
buddy.
frequency with Will Ferrell when he answers the questions.
That's one of my favorite old school. One of my
what happened? I
favorite
blacked out.
hangover movies to watch when you're just like on the couch on a Sunday.
school, the best.
Throw old school on.
The best.
I laugh every time.
yeah.
It's a frequency. Let's go.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are just phenomenal. If people want to find out more about you individually and
Where to
and
get
Freeq,
how find out more.
tell us about it. Plug. This is your plug.
Yeah, so we're Freeq Cosmetics on Instagram,
Spell Freeq.
Facebook. Freeq. Not, yeah.
We'll probably be one of the first things that come up, because there's not too many.
We better be.
Yeah.
We better be.
Oh, well, we're gonna plug anyways. And
Freeq.
Yeah,
website, where
Instagram,
can they buy?
Facebook, Twitter. It's all. So the website is freeq.ca, so that's where you can
that's nice.
purchase. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Big.
Good domain,
5 letters?
baby.
Powerful,
Let's go.
powerful.
I really like
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And you went Canadian too. Respect.
Yep.
100%.
Got it.
Born and raised. Yeah.
Individually, your personal. If they want to find out more about you guys individually, where do they go? Sorry,
Yeah. I'm Stella JS.
2 L's.
2 L's.
Yeah,
Spell
2
both
L's.
the names wrong.
Yeah.
It's good there.
And Freddie, where can they find you?
Freddie Bender.
Everyone knows Freddie Bender from the last one.
Yeah.
Freddie
don't
Bender,
don't be
baby.
following him if you got terrible strides, because he'll
Yeah.
call you
Yeah.
out.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah. He won't
Yeah.
hit follow back.
She's watching.
Looks at it, he's like,
No.
guys.
But yeah.
We appreciate you coming on. Thanks for the gifts as well. We're definitely going to try it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Recap our skincare routines
Yeah.
for everyone to see. And if you made it to the end of this episode, check their website out, buy some of their products, support local, hit the subscribe button.
Woo!
And that's all. Signing off, pals.
Get freaky.
Oh, I like that.
That's
All
perfect.
right.
We didn't even talk about that.
Cheers.
That's great.
Peace.